to know that I have pants on. You know what I mean? Like I can't do a whole video and you guys think that I'm just not wearing pants. I am. They're right here, guys. I am about to tell you the story about how I tricked myself into going skydiving. I went skydiving 2016, so it's been 4 years. Let's go back to the beginning. Welcome to my first story time. I've never done this before. Who knows if I'm a good storyteller? I guess you let me know. I don't know. You see, what had happened was I got to a point in my life where I was kind of just like ready to take everything on, and I just didn't care. Like I wanted to overcome my fears and all that. So I absolutely hate that dropping feeling of your stomach from roller coasters. Like I don't ride roller coasters. So because of that, I didn't ever really want to I mean, honestly, like I guess I just never really wanted to jump out of a plane. I guess that's an okay reasoning. I don't know what led up to it, but I was like, okay, so what is one of my biggest fears? Skydiving. Like that's something I would never see myself doing ever. When I was a server, I had somebody come in and they were telling me about how they were scared too, and like they went skydiving and blah, 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 you don't really feel like you're dropping, it's only for like a split second, and then it's just like amazing, blah, blah. After they told me that, I was like, I'm really scared to go skydiving because I hate that dropping feeling. But if that dropping feeling is not in skydiving, then how am I gonna let my fear of that dropping feeling stop me from something that potentially could be amazing? Are you following? There's skydiving, and then there's feeling like you're dropping. Conquer my fear and go skydiving because you don't feel like you're dropping. Get it? That's how the two blend together. That's how they worked in my brain anyway. I started doing like a whole bunch of research on it, and a bunch of people were saying like the same thing. Oh, you only feel it for a second, you only feel it for a second, and then like, blah, you're fine. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the plunge, and I had a bucket list going. I am going to add this to my bucket list. And like I said before, if I want to get something done and I say I'm gonna do it, then I'm gonna do it. It took me a bit because I was like, do I really want to put this on here? Like, if I put this on here, that's it. It's set in stone. It's, you know, it's not just pen, it's stone. Days go by and I was like, all right, I'm gonna put skydiving on the bucket list because, you know, like, what is fear? No, can't have it. I decided that I'm going to work up to it. How do you work up to skydiving, you ask? Well, I found things that were not skydiving but would get me closer to skydiving. So the first thing I did was I did indoor skydiving, which was pretty cool, honestly, when you float in the tube and you just have the air and you're just floating in there. So I did that first. That was my phase 1 into the realm of skydiving. Phase 2 into the realm of skydiving was hang gliding. I don't know. You're strapped on like Superman. You're with a chain or a rope to a plane. And then, so they take you up, right, and you have a big, you know, the big hang gliding thing. And then when you're up, they detach you, and then you're just soaring. I did that. It was all right. And then the next thing was skydiving. How am I going to do this? Like, that is such a big jump. Like, literally. I had to figure out a way to skydive and not talk myself out of it. I knew that if I did it in South Florida where I live, like, there's a chance that I could just be like, nah, I mean, it's right down the street. I'm never gonna just sign up and go. Like, ooh, today's a great day to skydive. No. So what I did was I had a trip coming up with my mom to Las Vegas. I had won some tickets on the radio station for a trip to Vegas and Orlando. That's a story for another time. Anyway, so we were going to Vegas. It was maybe like 3 months before our trip. So I was like, all right, I got it. I will buy my skydiving ticket for Vegas, almost $300. It was like I don't know what it was. It was like in between $200 to $300. I was like, all right, well, my cheap ass, I'm not gonna miss out on the ticket. So like, if I buy the ticket, I'm gonna go, you know what I'm saying? So like, that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm going to trick myself into skydiving by buying a ticket and forcing myself to go. Now with anybody else, no friends, well, I don't have friends, just myself. That's how I like to do a lot of things that I do. I don't know, like I've gotten all my tattoos all my tattoos, I have 3, but I've gone to get them all by myself. I don't tell nobody, I just go. I don't know. It's weird. Whatever. That is it. I'm gonna buy this ticket. I really thought about it kind of hard. I was like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? I had so much anxiety when I bought that ticket. Just the moments when I was buying it. As it got closer, we went to Vegas, kind of scheduled around the skydiving. It was just my mom and I on the trip, and she was kind of petrified. Luckily, Spoiler alert, everything went well, so thankfully my mom didn't have to witness any terrible accidents. I tried not to think about it too much, but obviously that thought was always in the back of my head, like I'm gonna be jumping out of a plane in a couple days. I was doing so much research and Yelping, and then all the Yelps were talking about this guy, John. John is always the first jumper, meaning he sits right at the door and you're like right there and you're the first one to plop out. Everybody was talking about how John was the first jumper, so if you get him, you're going first. The night before the jump, I was more nervous than the actual day of the jump. I think it's because I was reading so much stuff and I was kind of like hyping myself out, or that doesn't even make sense. Whatever. Come jump day. I have these pictures here so I could look at them too. Where this tour jumps out, I don't know if they all do in Vegas, but where mine did, it was like over the Colorado River and supposedly see the dam. I'll tell you from my experience, I don't know if it's just because it was my first time and I blanked out. I don't remember seeing anything. I think I was we'll get there. This is what like a shot from the plane of what it looked like going up. So this was me gearing up. I have a smile on my face. My mom was freaking out. Also, you know, check out those dope dreads. That was back in my dread days. Of course, I get John. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I am gonna be the first one to jump out of this plane. Meanwhile, I was probably the most, like, the one that didn't want to be there the most. I gotta say, I am so happy that I was the first one, because looking at the videos of like the people lined up in the back, I probably would have been freaking out if I saw people like actively dropping out of the airplane. So, you know, everything happens for a reason. Here's another shot going up. The moon was still out. Again, I don't really remember seeing any of this. A lot of people say that the plane ride is super bumpy. For me, personally, it wasn't. I was the first one. Everybody else piled in first. And then we sat like literally on the floor. The doors for the skydiving thing are just like slide up doors. And they're kind of clearish. We were sitting like right on the edge. His leg was the only thing blocking from the edge of falling out of the airplane. We're going up and he's like trying to point stuff out to me and like I'm just like cool, yeah. I'm looking out to the left, right? We've been in the plane, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes now. I'm looking out to the left. All of a sudden I feel this wind and like noise. When I tell you my heart sunk, he had slid open the door when I wasn't looking, and I looked out and I was like, holy shit, we're here? He's like, nah, we're only halfway. I was more scared that first time when he opened the door than the second time. I don't know if that's the tactic. I don't think it is, but for me, that first time he opened the door was so scary. Maybe because I wasn't expecting it. I don't know, but it was intense. Okay, so getting to the actual skydive. Also, poor John. My dreads were they were looking pretty mangly right now, I'm not gonna lie. And the short ones weren't in my messy ass ponytail, so he was getting whipped in the face the whole time with my dreads. Sorry, John. The second time he opened it, I was like, alright, shit, this is it. Like, it's time to go. I don't know if it's the adrenaline or what it is, but my brain, like, just goes blank. Like, I kind of black out. Tells you to put your head back, and I'm like, oh, this is it. Once I got in the plane, I was like, that's it. There's no turning back. There's only one way down. I did it. Like, I tricked myself into skydiving. Who has to do this kind of thing? I guess only me. I don't know, but I did it.
Oh, shit!
I'm fearless. Nothing can never hold me back. Never. I am unstoppable. I'm unstoppable.
So I do remember, okay, when we jumped out of the plane, there was a solid 2 seconds which now looking at it, let me see, 2.5 seconds where you feel like you're dropping, and so as I fell out, my stomach dropped, and my only thought, like you can see it in my face looks like I'm just having the worst time. Amongst all the blankness, the only thought in my face was like what the fuck? I thought people said you do not feel dropping. Before I can even complete that thought of like, oh my god, before I could complete that thought, it was over. That feeling was gone, and I guess you catch up to the speed that you're dropping or whatever it is that happens. It's just freaking amazing. There's like a split second, like right there, I think, where I catch up and I'm kind of just like, oh shit, like I'm good. Before that though, you know, it's just terrible, but it's not really that bad. There's that moment that and then there's a really funny segment because I had been reading a bunch of stuff about like having trouble breathing when you're doing it, and I don't remember this part, but I guess I was trying to like breathe a certain way. I don't know what I was doing. There is this moment where it registers in my brain, like I just faced my biggest fear and I jumped out of this plane, and like I think this moment right here registers and I just freaking screamed. That feeling of doing something that you were so scared of is the most amazing feeling. When I realized that I jumped out, whether I landed or not was irrelevant. The fact that I actually made it out of the plane and I didn't chicken out and I went past that step, it felt like you were, again, my poor dread was just beating this guy up in the face. So then he pulls the chute. So he pulls the chute. As soon as he pulls the chute, I just jumped out of the plane, right? He pulls the chute. As soon as he does like a pull so that the parachute like kind of whips to the side. And this is what I say.
Yeah, you did it, girl. How was that?
Oh God, I don't like this much. Yeah, and I just like fold my hands. Like I just jumped out of an airplane and fell free falling. And that little turn is what I didn't like. Like I said, I don't like that dropping feeling. And then if you look up and you see like how tiny the people are that you come from, it is the craziest thing. Made it down, and I mean I skydived. Crossing that off my bucket list was pretty cool. Word of advice, if you're trying to do something, just because you want to do something doesn't mean you have to do it all at once, if that makes sense. In my situation, I wanted to skydive. Just because I wanted to skydive didn't mean I have to go out and skydive tomorrow. As long as you're working towards that goal. In my situation, I did the indoor skydiving, I did the hang gliding, and then I went skydiving. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're picking something that's just real high reach for you, right at this moment, that doesn't mean you have to do it right this instant. But don't just stay stagnant until you can make that humongous jump. Do something to slowly work your way up to that ultimate goal that you're trying to reach, or that fear you're trying to conquer, or whatever it is. Like, take baby steps until you get there if making that full leap is just too much for you. It was for me, but hey, I made it there and I tricked myself into skydiving. I forget sometimes that I did it just because it's so crazy to think of me jumping out of an airplane. But I did it and it was great. That moment of realizing that you've conquered your fears and you're unstoppable is just the best. That's my first story time. Hopefully it went okay. I don't know. Should I do more of these? Let me know. I have some stories. Oh, I have some stories. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. You can help. Yeah, you can help. Thanks so much for tuning in. Also, check out my tie-dye socks. Custom made by yours truly. Hey. Alright, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We will see you in the next one. Later! Oh, I left the review on Yelp. Woohoo. This was over 3 years ago. Woohoo, amazing. John was amazing. Made me feel so comfortable and relaxed. I was first out, which was a bit nerve-wracking. Amazing experience and loved jumping with John. Tell me how I was watching his videos the other day, and my face, I looked like I was shitting.